Okay, so here we are now, and we are on the back porch. We've got our plantains washed, and we've set them out here just to let some of the water run off, and they don't have to dry out completely. You can give them a few good shakes. So, all we're going to do, and this is a tincture, it's just that simple. We're going to stuff these guys. Let me move some stuff around here, some army. We're going to stuff these guys just right in here, just like this. They don't have to get complicated. Now, the great thing about plantain is it is a great astringent. And if you do any kind of bushcraft or survivalism, or you're into natural living or primitive living, you should know this. And if you don't know this, you should know this guy. It's ready to use right now. I can take this, say I have a bee sting on my hand, and it's burning, it's itching, bug bite, whatever. And you just take this, chew it up. It's what they call making a poultice. And you can mash it up too. You just chew it up, and you just put it right on top of wherever your little bite is, say that drop of water there. And you just make a compress to hold it against it. And it'll automatically start relieving any kind of stinging and swelling and itching almost instantly. I mean, it doesn't take very long at all, and it works really, really well. So like I said, this is one that I recommend that you guys check out. There's also, with a lot of herbs that haven't been tested, so there's debate, and you'll find that saying that it's good for this or good for that, and it may be or it may not, and science might tell you later that it is or it isn't. You got to kind of live somewhere in between science and folk killing when it comes to this stuff, because a lot of it just hasn't been tested. Like I said, a lot of it, they're starting to understand why these things work the way they work. But anyway, we're going to put it in there, and that's probably about tight enough. I don't want to pack it too tight. As you can see, I don't have it pressed against the sides. There's gaps. And then when I make my tinctures, I go to Walmart and I buy the Great Value apple cider vinegar, because I'm not worried about really expensive high quality vinegar for this. And we're just going to pour this whole guy right in on top of it. And I might actually stuff some more in here, since it's a little loose, a little looser than I thought. So we're going to go ahead and stuff some more in there. Now, it's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks to really get everything out of this, all the good stuff. This works for, well, so many things. And again, please just look it up, because for me to sit here and just list it all off, it's going to be a 20-minute video. And I don't want to go giving a bunch of health advice. So all this is, at your own risk, at your own use. Do your own research. Make sure you know what you're doing. But you're going to give it about 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to set it somewhere just back in your cabinet. Like I said, keep it around room temperature. Usually whatever most people's houses stay at is good to use. And then we're going to pop our lid on this. Now, you don't want to use any kind of lid that has a metal bottom, because the vinegar will eat it. So if that's all you have, say you don't have any canning jars, pretty much any canning jar should work. But if you don't have any, you can put, and you're using some kind of other lid that may have just a metal top, you can put just a piece of cellophane there, saran wrap or whatever, and that'll work. And we're going to put the lid on this good. Try to one-handed, and then we're just going to shake. And we're going to do this every couple days. We're just going to shake it for a minute or two, and we're going to do this for about 4 to 6 weeks. And you can actually, that was all the vinegar I had, so I'm probably going to go ahead and put some more in there and top this off. You want the vinegar to be up here nice and full, but that's what I had to show you. So we'll work with this for now, or I might even supplement a little distilled vinegar in there. I don't see why it would hurt anything. Apple cider vinegar's obviously got a lot of benefits, but I'll get some later. Go ahead and fill it on up to there. 4 to 6 weeks, once every day or two, take it out and shake it real well. After it starts pulling that color good, of course the train's going to come by, but once it starts pulling that color good, you can take it and just strain this off through a coffee filter back into another jar, about half this size, and about a pint jar, or maybe a couple pint jars, and just something smaller, and just filter it through a coffee filter. And then this is great if you have, you know, say dry skin or psoriasis, or even if your scalp's just a little dry. This is a great rinse for after you wash to help with like any kind of skin problems, if that makes sense. Bug bites, rashes, burns, insect stings, bites, whatever you want to call it. Anything like that. Now there is a lot of internal uses for this as well. And before you go ingesting anything internally, you need to do your own research. So yeah, broadleaf plantain, making a tincture. It's just that simple. Now, this is the basics for a tincture. You can do this with so many different things. So now that you've seen it, you've seen how simple it is. I went out in my yard in a few minutes. It took me 5 minutes to pick these, if that. Took me another 5 minutes to wash them, and then you just put them in a jar and dump some vinegar on them, let them set. You can dry this as well. You can go out and collect all kinds. You can have jars and jars and jars full of it. Now, you obviously don't want to dry it like that. You need to look into how to dry herbs. Which, let me kick off on something else for a second. I can show you how to do this, and just say a survival scenario. You know, you can do the poultice like we said, just chew it up and put it on it, smash it, put it on it. But what if you wanted to make a tincture? What are you going to do about vinegar in a survival scenario? What are you going to do about alcohol in a survival scenario? Can you make alcohol? Because if you can make alcohol, you can make everything you need for a tincture. You can also make you know, good for, you know, just plain rubbing alcohol, which, you know, it won't be rubbing alcohol, isopropyl, but you could use it that way for cleaning or whatever if you can distill alcohol. If you can make beers and wines, you can make vinegar. It's a process. People will learn, they'll get on something like this and they'll learn how to do it all day. That's great as long as you can go to Walmart and buy everything you need, or Target or wherever, and get everything you need to make it with, besides what you have to find out in the wild. And that's great, use it. If you're doing it for a survival or a prepping or a primitive living kind of thing, then you need to take into effect that you're not going to be able to go to the store and buy stuff. So anything you're educating yourself on, like this, is absolutely no good to you if you don't know how to make vinegar, or if you don't know how to make alcohol. It's a can of worms. Once you start down this rabbit hole, it never ends. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So, you know, all you survivalists and preppers and things like that, you know, I signed up to a few pages just to hopefully get some cool things to share for the group. Haven't really found much anything yet. It just seems like a place for people to unload goods and purchase new man toys and things like that. They talk about all these crazy things, you know, stuff like this, but they don't ever stop and take into account where are you going to get the vinegar from, where are you going to get the alcohol from. You know, finding plantains is easy. How are you going to get the rest to make it? And that's just one example. I mean, you can go on and on and on with any scenario. So anything that you learn or you are teaching yourself for a survival scenario, you know, you can play camper or prepper all you want, but if you're really training for survival scenarios, if there is any element in whatever you're doing that you can't make yourself, you either need to learn how to make it or learn an alternative that you can be used. If not, whatever you're learning is useless. Have a good day, y'all. Stay Appalachian.